Hello, I'm Stephen Nix with ProValTech. Today I will be showing you how to enable and use the PowerShell Interpreter in Rewst. Starting off, we're going to want to make sure the Microsoft Cloud Integration Bundle is enabled. So let's go ahead and do that. Make sure Exchange Online and Azure are selected. Click Next. Click the Rewst Microsoft Cloud connector. If you own an app registration, you can do that as well. You can review the permissions that it's going to be applying here and click Authorize. You'll want to select a global admin account for this and accept the permissions. Many times when you're including the Azure part of this, there may be some error messages. You may have to reauthorize afterwards. We'll see if it does it this time. Okay, now that we've cleared those error messages, we see that Graph and Exchange are authorized, but Azure is not. So let's try to reauthorize. Okay, we are getting some permissions assigning now, which is good, and we are authorized. Next up, let's go over to Tools and go to Interpreters. Under PowerShell, you may see that it still says the Azure integration is not installed. We can just refresh the page, and we now have this form. So before we do this, let's look at what was created here. In Azure, we have our Rewst MS Cloud connector created. If we go under permissions, we can review the permissions that it was assigned, including all the Azure permissions it needs. We have our subscription, and we're going to have to create a resource group or assign it to a resource group, because what this is going to do is create a PowerShell function in Azure. It's just a small app that runs headless where all your PowerShell is going to run. So we can select an existing resource group, but ideally you should create a resource group just for this. So let's go ahead and do that. In Azure, let's go back to Home, go up here, click Resource Groups. We'll create a resource group, and let's call this Rewst PowerShell Interpreter. And for now, we'll just do East US, but you can choose the region you would like. Review and create, and create. Let's make sure it's created. Refresh. And we have our Rewst PowerShell Interpreter in East US. Now let's go back here. Let's refresh our subscriptions. Let's select the Microsoft Partner Network. You can select a subscription for your Azure tenant. Refresh the resource groups, and we should see Rewst PowerShell Interpreter under our resource group. Click Deploy. Now this might take a while. It's going to be creating a lot of stuff in the back end. So let's take a look and see what it did. Back in Azure, if we go under the Rewst PowerShell Interpreter resource group, we can see that it created a storage account, our function app, application insights, and an app service plan. What we're really interested in is this function app. So here we have a Rewst webhook code, and you can review this if you want. This is just the backend code that Rewst is going to use to process your interpreter requests. So now we should be able to use the PowerShell interpreter in the live editor and workflows. Let's do both. Under live editor, in the editor, you can select the Jinja button and switch to PowerShell. Let's give it some test data here in JSON. So let's just do test and hello world. Now, the way you access the data in PowerShell is CTX. So that's our context. And then test. And we have our result, hello world. Let's see how this would work out in a workflow. Under automations, workflows, let's create a new one called testing PowerShell. And for here, I'm just going to get a company from ConnectWise Manage. So we're going to select a name from ConnectWise PSA, ProVal Technologies, and publish the results as CT as my company. And there we go. Next, let's get a debug action out. And we'll go to the debug on success. And then in our text here, we're going to do hashtag PS to let the interpreter know that we want to use PowerShell. Next, we do ctx dot my company dot name. So we're pulling the variable from here and pulling it in to pulling the name field in and returning it here. So let's see if that works. Okay, so let's look at the result from ConnectWise here. All right, we've got the name is ProVal Technologies, good. And then if we view the result, the text output is ProVal Technologies. So you can see that's how to set up and use the PowerShell interpreter in Rewst. Thank you very much. Have a great day.